Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday morning, April the 14th, one day before tax day. That's right, one day before tax day. It's supposed to be the greatest day in the history of mankind, April the 15th. Jonathan Turner here alongside Nathan Wangler. It is Monday. It is Soccer Conversations. What a great way to start your week, right? Talking all things soccer inside the game here on a Monday morning. What could be better than that? To the coffee firm, it would be coffee and soccer. And that is what we have here. First off, man, Nathan, how are you doing?
Good. It was an eventful weekend. First of all, tax day is scary to some. I will agree. It is probably the least favorite day of the year for the majority of Americans. It just sucks, that we actually have to, give money to the government. I feel like I don't get, like enough of it to begin with. And then they got, especially for people working in media, sometimes they come in and take half of what you have. But I've been pretty good at writing off stuff this year and letting the government know you can't take that money away from me. So I made off pretty okay, but I'm such a paranoid person. I need to get that done well ahead of time. I'm not the kind that can go right up until tax day. Just not going to happen. Nope. So got that done already, but the weekend was good for me. I had the opportunity. I know we're talking soccer a little bit here, but over the weekend I did the Grand Rapids Police Department v. Grand Rapids Fire Department hockey game at Van Andel Arena downtown. They're trying to do something to like closely mirror what they have in New York and some of the other big cities across America, but it was meant to raise money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. But it was a good time. It was intense. It was chippy. It felt like old school. You had a real mashup of, veteran officers and firefighters who have been on the job for years and years. And then you had, some savvy, young interns out there who learned the hard lessons playing with the bigger, older guys. So, but it was fun, the pageantry of all of it. I got to be down on the ice at Van Andel Arena, which is, obviously it's no Little Caesars Arena, but I mean, that's the step before you get to LCA. That's where the minor league team is. So being in between the benches, being under the Jumbotron, and like I said, that place looks a lot bigger than what it normally is when you're up in their stands when you're down on the ice. So yeah, I was right in between the benches. I almost got, I don't know, you probably don't know who this name is, but Rob Ray serves as a hockey analyst. He used to actually play in the NHL, but he actually he was in that media position in between the benches. He got a puck in between the eyes during a game not too long ago. So I was waiting for my Rob Ray moment. Never ended up getting it, but that was a really fun time getting to cover both of those teams. But I mean, got to interview the police chief, got to interview the fire chief. So as I said, you'd be amazed the places that this job field can take you sometimes, especially when you get those one-off opportunities. I've done some Special Olympic stuff. Now I just did the that game, and you'd be fascinated the types of people you'll meet. So, but they had all the professional equipment. They had the professional sound, the professional video, all their in-house stuff that they use for when they do games wherever, on whatever network. So that was a really, really fun time. So that was great. And then obviously soccer all over the place. You had League for Clubs a couple of nights ago. I was doing the Bay Valley game. Yuba looks really good. They got some playmakers. Bay Valley's just struggled out of the gate, man. They just can't figure out a way to close games or stay in games, and then obviously a lot of other stuff on this network. So it's 24/7, never stops.
24/7, never stops. It's true. It's entirely true. Obviously, equally busy for us this weekend. I will say this much, that we didn't have anything going on Friday night, which was kind of nice. And being able to kind of just get, a chance to hang out with the family. Went down to downtown Detroit on Friday night. I went to Pegasus in Greektown and enjoyed a great meal. At that restaurant. I remember that's where, when we graduated from high school, we actually graduated in downtown Detroit at the Masonic Temple. And so that was kind of cool. My sister, Joanna, when she graduated, we all went to Greektown, Pegasus, actually for her graduation. And if anyone who knows of like the Wahlbergs, obviously if you don't, then maybe you live under a rock someplace, but that's okay too. But the Wahlbergs actually had a burger restaurant in downtown called Wahlburgers. That was down.
Oh yeah.
That was down there for a long time. It's not there anymore. But that's an area where They used to have that restaurant, and we were down there and made our way back home. Saturday was busy, right? Saturday we had, we in the morning it was not busy, but in the afternoon it certainly was, right? We had National Academy League game, Michigan Wolves versus Sockers FC. Those two games kicking off at 3 and 4:45, and then we had a game kicking off at then it's like you have a break. Take a break.
I heard you were calling a game.
Yeah, I called
games. How'd your voice feel coming back after all that time off?
It felt weird. I'm not going to lie. Three games. I called 3 games on Saturday, and then I called 1 game on Sunday. No, it was good. My voice on Sunday morning kind of got a little wrecked, but it was good, man. It was good to kind of get back into it. And it's crazy because we're bringing a lot of broadcasters in, and Nathan, obviously getting used to the remote side of this can be challenging, and I'll be the first one to admit it is challenging, right? What we do on a game basis, managing all the things that go on and trying to identify players is the most challenging aspect of what we do. And that is why a lot of times now you will hear us say things like shot, and then if saying a player's name, we're going to maybe align with something that the ball is going to do, right? So it may off the far post, right? Left foot. We might just enunciate or like make that cadence on that left foot just really go long, right? And the reason we're doing that is because I might not know who the player took the shot. I might not know it, right? Because if I know the player's name, I'm going to try and use that player's last name and just send it, right? But if I don't know it, I'm going to say things like far post and really hit post hard at the end, especially at the end of it, right? Same thing would be true with like a header or things along those lines. Again, identifying players is hard. But for somebody that's been doing this long enough to know, to be good at this job, you don't have to know players. Okay, you don't. To be good at what we do, it comes with enthusiasm, it comes with excitement, it comes with passion, it comes with all those things. And if you happen to know a player's name, that's just an added bonus. Right? I'm talking about in the world in which we're talking about amateur soccer and in these environments where you just don't know. Even phonetically, you might not know the player's name, but you have maybe the information. So Coach Jorge Medina is asking on Instagram, I can only imagine what radio play-by-play would feel like after 1 game, yet after 3 games. Yeah. We, and yesterday I did 2 in a row. So on Saturday I did 2 in a row, 3 and 4:45. And then we went into, I had a breather, and then we did a game, 11 o'clock Eastern. The game was out 8 p.m. Pacific time. But yeah, we, doing back-to-back games can be somewhat of a thing. And my voice did impact me a little bit on Sunday morning when I tried calling a game. I could sense the screechiness in my voice.
Yeah.
You need some voice actors. Yeah, probably do need some voice. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do them though. I'm not going to be like Celine Dion. I'm not going to do that stuff. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I might do How Now Brown Cow like Will Ferrell did in
drink something hot, you'll be all right. No, what? Yeah, player identification is always. I think it's always important. I think it's always good to know who's shooting, who's where, who's doing what. Also, it just sounds good on our end to be able to identify someone before the shot, but it's not always possible. And especially when you talk about the AI signals that we get, it'll get better as that technology continues to develop. But at the end of the day, took a lot of liquid. Yeah, I mean, other
a little bit of alcohol,
liquid. Mixed in there.
There are tricks to the trade. There are cough drops. Yeah. Keeping your throat. And to be fair, I have to take sugar-free cough drops, so that's a little bit of a different thing for me. But yeah,
don't drink coffee.
I know. I
know your register.
I know it. I know. I drink a ton of coffee, man. It's not right.
But no, I've been there many a times, but. You're right. To circle back on what you were talking, and this is something that you and I have had discussions about with talent before, like energy is something that can't be replaced. If you have good energy throughout, that's something that people can gravitate towards. It's not always going to be easy to identify players. And I think it's worth noting, these aren't radio games. These are TV games. So to that degree, the thing about TV is in comparison to radio, And I always make this comparison. It's like riding a bike compared to running or jogging. Like that's the comparison I make, because when you're on TV, it's almost kind of like riding a bike, because yeah, it's still exercise, but you're allowed to kind of sit back and let the game come to you a little bit more. So that's the beauty of doing it on the platform that we do. So you're right, it's all about energy. But the actual science behind doing games remotely is not perfect. It's not perfect just yet. It does work, but even like with what we do, JT, and doing it from a studio and doing different, like on the minor league side, not with you guys, but all the different places that I do remote stuff, like it's not, you have to rely on a lot of different people to do things the right way. Because let's be honest with ourselves, JT, when we're in person, we can just use our own eyes. Like we don't have to really rely on a camera or anything like that. You might have
No.
monitors that you could refer to, but like you don't have to rely on that when it's
Well,
remote.
you may even refer those only in the
Yeah.
situation where you're doing for replay purposes. I
Right.
mean, or
Right.
the hey, there's a
Exactly.
read coming, and you want to just you need a to have an idea of when it's coming on the screen.
Yeah.
Again, but those things are this. Those are the crutches that we fall back on, right? The luxuries of our job, right? If you were
Mhm.
like Al Michaels or Joe Bach or anyone who is, Jim Nantz, for example, with the Masters this weekend, they have so many different things at their disposal. They've got 15 people who are in charge of stats sitting next to them who can hand them a sticky note that says, hey,
Right.
here's what just happened, right? There's instant replays and 75 cameras in 18 different holes, right? So
Right.
we have all these great bells and whistles that we have at our disposal. And I mean, we have the ability
Resources.
to we have the ability to do telestration in our broadcast with an iPad. I can just connect it to a computer, and we could literally start to telestrate on the screen if we wanted to. Now,
Mhm.
great, it's great, right? It's a great tool, probably awesome to work with, and we will probably at some point in time bring it into our broadcast. But like I was just telling us, all of our producers, we have tools in our studio that will allow our producers to do the job very easy. And I say easy, I mean a 12-year-old could do it. I know this because my kids were doing it, right? So, but the best way for them to learn would be to do it in which would be to try and I apologize, I got text messages as I was doing this, but the best way to do this is to do it where you don't have those crutches, you don't have those things to fall back on. Learn it as if it's hard as hell, and then apply the crutches, apply the benefits, the extra things that make your life easier, so that way if something goes wrong, how to deal with it. That is the biggest challenge, right? We need to give people the tools to be able to understand what it is that they have to do when those tools fail. And there's nothing more frustrating from a commentator standpoint than here you have a camera in front of you and it glitches. Or a VO camera goes off to wherever VO land it goes, and you're like, where the ball's over here, the camera went this way, and you're like, oh, and then a goal scores. Those are the most frustrating moments that we have as commentators, where we miss something. That does not like, from my perspective, that does not, I don't take that lightly. All right. The thing I say is this, because it keeps coming up. We've had these conversations, and I where in games, this because you're calling them, Nathan, these Northern California League for Club games where we're getting them on the platform, and some of the games we're coming in late. We don't have a feed, or we're, if we do have a feed, it's really shitty, right? Bianca and I were having this conversation. Our staff are having this conversation right now about, well, what is important? What's important to the network? Are we hurting ourselves? Are we hurting ourselves by having a shitty feed? Here's my response to that. If we weren't doing it, where would it be?
Yeah, I mean,
where would it be? Where are you going to watch the game? So, okay,
right.
I'm getting a crappy feed. So if I'm getting a crappy feed, that means that if they were doing it too, it's a crappy feed someplace else.
Right.
So the crappy feed is still a crappy feed.
Yep.
The difference is that even with a crappy feed, we can still do really cool things.
Yep.
Just really cool things. So,
and it's not,
yeah. So I understand it. I believe you me. The last thing that I want is a crappy anything.
Right.
We
Right.
are not responsible for 90% of the feeds coming into our environment right
Right.
now. 90% of them. They're coming in as a result of somebody else who we do not have control over. And I think it's important. I really do, Nathan, want to at least some point in time on a Saturday night have someone just follow me around during these broadcasts as we're going through the process of getting these feeds into our studio. The phone call began at a first phone call at 8 o'clock on Saturday night for us to deal with the different people, production companies, people involved. It didn't end until 3 a.m.
Wow.
Right. So put that in perspective, right? So 8 o'clock to 3 a.m. I'm the one managing those phone calls. I'm on the phone with one person, and while that's happening, another phone call is coming in. I'm dealing with that, right? And the problem is the same problem for every team. We're not getting a feed. We're not getting this. We're not getting that. It's the same problem.
Right.
You should be listening to these phone calls because then I think people would grasp what we're trying to accomplish. It is not an easy feat. If anyone could do it or everyone could do it, they would all do it. This is not easy. It's not an easy process. And to be fair, if I want to bring you inside the game, inside our game, I should probably do that. I should probably show that aspect of a Saturday night. Literally have someone just follow me around the camera and see the conversations that I'm having where I'm literally pulling my hair out going, I don't know what I mean. Like we had our first broadcast with one of our teams this weekend, Nathan, and the ownership group been fantastic. Like just all in they sent us like 15 pages of notes like to talk about on the air.
Okay.
They get 30 emails a week from us, 16 text messages, 12 phone calls, right? Our requirements are we need to have a feed no later than 30 minutes prior. We prefer an hour, but no later than 30. Okay. The feed's not there. I'm texting. He's like, well, I'm not the one in charge of it tonight. This guy is. So he passed me up to somebody else. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call 10 minutes before the game. And this kid goes, yeah, this guy just gave me the VO. He said, good luck to me is all he said. I don't know what to do. That's all he said. Good luck. It's like, good luck. So here I am working with someone who's never done this before, trying to work that problem. And when we finally figured out what the problem was, we knew we couldn't pull it in to our studio because there's things that we can do on a back end of a VO, a huddle, whatever, that gives us access to the camera. But this system didn't have it. They could go live to VO live, but they couldn't go live anywhere else. So now I'm pulling my hair out because and again, there's like 55 people just waiting in the damn game, right? Just like they're commenting in the comments, saying, where's this game at? Why aren't we watching this game? Blah, 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 right? People are getting pissed. Right. So I in my most relaxing way possible, Nathan, I found a backdoor way to get it done and made it happen. and got that game on. And we talk about this. Our staff, we talk about this a lot. Like, when is enough?
Right.
And in my perspective, it's real easy to step away from something. It is super easy. It is so easy to walk away from something.
Right.
It is. Yep. It's so easy for somebody who doesn't know what we do or how we do it to sit there on a Saturday night and say, you guys are terrible at what you do. It's really easy to do that. I get it. I've watched broadcasts before. We've laughed and joked about what they might look like and how other companies do theirs and things like that. And I get it. I say just patience is a virtue. There are growing pains associated with what we're doing. The teams that we're working with all have the passion to want to play soccer. We have the passion to highlight it and to give it exposure. And I will be damned. I will be damned if while we're trying to do all this, we walk away from something just because it's hard, just because it's difficult. Yeah, it's stressful. Yes, it is not fun at times when you're trying to deal with this. And it's really challenging right now. It's really testing me, and it's testing our team. Right? It is.
Yeah.
So
we are in in terms of broadcasting and media. We are in the Wild West gold rush era of the technology that we have.
Real quick,
It
Rush
used
Silicon Valley is Instagram right now. They're just chiming in. Rush Silicon Valley, we just did their game, their first ever game on Saturday night. Big win for them. I had a chance to call that game. But I just
Very
want to give a
nice.
shout out to them on Instagram. Go ahead, continue.
Congratulations. Yeah, well done, you guys. Happy to have you on the platform. That's cool. What I was just saying, you know, we are, as a broadcasting and media world, we are in the again Wild West Gold Rush era. And in a lot of ways, it kind of feels like you're trying to pull off miracles because we have the technology to do this from remote places. We have the technology to take this feed. With what we have the capability to connect to any AI feed, any AI camera, anything else like that. And we've done it multiple times in multiple different places. We have been able to prove that we can provide this. The issue, however, is this. It's not necessarily us understanding the equipment and the technology or what we're trying to accomplish on our end. It's that sometimes, no matter how much you communicate, no matter how much you try to test, no matter how much you try to get people to do things the right way on the back end, and specifically talking about schools or clubs, doesn't matter how hard you try sometimes, it doesn't mean that it's going to be done the right way. And so that might mean the feed you get is not where it's supposed to be. That might mean the information that you get is not where it's supposed to be. But meanwhile, we're trying to execute a broadcast with technology that we've never had before, meaning that we can call games literally from across the country with just a feed from an AI camera. And so a lot of what we're doing is in its infancy. It's very much in its infancy because you've said it before. We're trying to do something that no one else is doing. And so in order to do something no one else is doing, we have to fall flat on our face in the public eye sometimes the way other people are not willing to do that because they're comfortable with doing what they know, which is live streaming maybe the games in their area, which is sending out a truck with a bunch of wires to go do a handful of games every year. But how does that help grow the game if all we're doing is just high school around where we are and a couple of club games here or there and then calling it a day? How does that actually help grow anything if we're not spotlighting these leagues who, you're right, to circle back to your initial point, would not have something like this if it wasn't for us coming in and doing it? Now, maybe they would have, you know, from time to time people would come out, but it certainly wouldn't be as all in one place the way that it is with us. So it's not going to be a perfect science. And a lot of it is, and this is something I've had to get used to, JT, because I've realized as we've gone along with this, at certain points it has been a baptism by fire, right? And it has to be when you're getting into uncharted territory. But to talent and anybody who finds themselves in those situations, if this is the first time you're hearing this, you're welcome. You should have heard this a long time ago. But remaining comfortable while being uncomfortable is one of the most important things that we can do. Right. And that's the only way to be able to carry a game successfully when you're getting into uncharted territory the way that we are. And it's not uncharted in the way that we don't know how the technology works, but for things to line up perfectly is a fever dream. That doesn't happen in reality. There are always things to troubleshoot. There are always things that are, this little thing's going to go wrong. We might miss a few minutes here or there, maybe the signal or the feed, or like you said, in this latest example, the person didn't even know how the technology worked. He didn't even know how to do it. You're going to run into those things. But how do you stay persistent and remain comfortable while being uncomfortable? That's important to me. But these hard lessons are being learned because we are trying to accomplish something different, bigger. But, does that mean it's going to stretch us thin? Yeah. And I feel like in a lot of ways, I feel like people are tired, but that doesn't really take away from the push and the desire to continue to do it. But you're right. Patience is everything. And we're learning as we go.
Yeah, no, I mean, when we are, if I look back at our history, right, on game one, and what game one was like, and the issues and the intricacies of trying to figure out how to do that first game, right? And then how my mind in that moment just kind of started to this light bulb, right? And then how do I almost like, I'm not trying to compare myself to Thomas Edison, because that would be, I think, would be disingenuous to what he was able to accomplish. But like, I can just imagine like an inventor, right? You're in your mind going, okay, wow, like there's some things here that I can do that are, if I could just do this, if I could just do that, if I could just do this, right, and just start to, and so over the last 3 years and 2,000 games, we've done that, right? We've gone in and gone, okay, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? And everything has been with the mindset of what can we do to evolve this, right? And what can we do to elevate, right, and to do this, that, and the other. And that's why I say, like, when we say we're like your home for soccer, we don't take that lightly, because again, at any given moment, what you can consume from us, you have a live environment, right? We have live games,
Right.
live shows, and then you've got the news component to what we do, right? I mean, like in the last 2 weeks alone, we've posted almost 100 stories to our website, right? Think about that for a second. 100 soccer-specific stories on our platform that you can look and read right now on our website, nationalsoccernetwork.com, right? So you can go consume the live environment, you can go read information, and of course, once NSN Nation really starts to, as that's been built, but now we're building it up. As that thing starts to launch, my goodness, man, the opportunity people are going to have is going to be tremendous, right? So, and I'm really excited about that. But that, again, I think it's important that we address that elephant. That, hey, well, yeah, there's some quality issues there. Yeah, of course. I mean, we're hiring at a rapid clip. We're bringing in young producers into our environment. We're bringing young commentators who have never done this before. We're bringing them into this environment, right? And it's a process. I'll tell you this right now. I mean, going and sitting in our studio in front of that TV is not like walking into a live environment, at a quote unquote whatever stadium you're going to go into and call a soccer game. But to be fair, for the end product, there's no difference. There is no difference between, if we're talking about what the viewer at home is consuming, if we do this right, they have no idea you're not there.
Right.
No idea. And to be fair, the other organizations, and I'll give you a perfect example, the USL Championship, which is on ESPN Plus, it's on CBS Golazo, right? Do you think they don't experience this? I can tell you for 100% certainty that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because we have people who work in those organizations, who work with us, who say, John, we have the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using technology at a much more sophisticated level than we are, with more involved. And they're experiencing the same problems. So this is not like a unique thing to us. It's not a unique thing to the industry. But our thing is this: if we didn't do this, where would you see the games? We're trying to give you a central location where you can just come and watch any game you want to, any day of the week, and that's why we do this.
And not just that, the standings, the rankings, the talking around the league, what teams are up, what teams are down, the social media related stuff. Like, you're trying to package it all up into one. But yeah, you're right. Even at the highest levels, they deal with this stuff. And I mean, I've seen it everywhere. I've seen it everywhere. It's just, yeah, fighting through it is hard.
It is. I want to do this though. We've obviously had a great conversation this morning. I want to get into first things first. This past week, a great idea came about here at the National Soccer Network, and the idea about it was there are so many people involved, right, in soccer fans, soccer players, whatever, and everybody has a story. And what came out of all of that was my game, my story. And on your screen right now is, we want you to share your story with us. And how do you do that? All you got to do is scan the QR code on your screen. It's also out on all of our social media. It'll be available to do. There's some things going to be changing with the process that we'll have in the next couple of days. But you can most certainly share your story with us. And when you share your story with us, we have a home on our website for your story to be, right? You can put your headshot in there, but you get to share your story. My game, my story. What is your story? What is it that it makes you unique? And what is the thing that you'd want to share about that story that if you were going to tell your younger self as you got into this game, what would that be? What would be your advice to the younger version of yourself now sitting in that chair at 30-some years old? Maybe you're 18, maybe you're 17. But what would you go back and do differently? What would you change? Would you change anything at all? It's your story. Share it with us. And let us share that story with the world. All right. So that's something that I wanted to do. But last night we had the high school ranking show. It is, I guess the right word to put this, or the right phrase, it is an honor. It is a blessing. Maybe it's a curse too. We get to do this every Sunday, right? But we made history last night. We had our first ever player live in studio last night, and that was really cool. Alara Jakubowski, a Utica Eisenhower player, a junior, made her way onto the show last night. If you want to check that out, it's available obviously on our YouTube channel. You can watch it actually on Twitter, Facebook. It's also on Roku as well. But last night we did release the top 15 teams here from the state of Michigan. We are going to put them on your screen. We're going to start with division. Oh, hang on, there's a comment coming in here. Apologize. Footy 517. Lansing has had quite the interesting story the past 10 years. I would agree with that statement. Right. But I want to get into this right here. This is the top 15 for Division 4. And this was an interesting one. When we look at these each and every week, the thing that we look at is how many changes, right? How many changes happen from week to week to week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Division 4 had, first off, there were a total, I think, of 42 total changes this past week. Division 4 had the most. Royal Oak Shrine moved up in Division 4 significantly. And when I say significantly, I think the previous week they were ranked at number 11, and they went from 11 to 1. Right, so that's a significant jump, right? But 3 teams come in, 3 teams come out. You saw Bloomfield, Roper, Adrian, Lenawee Christian, and Saugatuck all kind of bounce out. Saginaw, New Valley Catholic, Leland, and Medicine Heights Bishop Foley all made their way into the rankings for the first time this season. I'm going to do this because typically I don't do this, but I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to share my screen. This is how we keep track of the rankings. This is like the behind the inside the game, so to speak, right? Well, let's show the world what it looks like from our perspective, how these rankings come together. Oops, sorry, wrong button. But yeah, so this is how we keep track of the rankings. So here's your division, this week's rankings, right? We have over here what they did last week. And then where they were last week is all right here in this column. So where they were ranked, as again, you can see ranked 11th, they're ranked 1. They were up 10 spots. How many changes from the previous week, and then teams that were in and out, right? We do this for each division every Sunday. So when the rankings come into our email box, that's how we keep track of them, and keep track week to week. And to be fair, makes us even funner is if we come down here, we have all of the detail, again, all these different tabs. I don't know if you can even see it on your screen now. Probably not. But anyways, I can click on the different tabs and like the total changes for each week, right? So we have just different total changes. So let's get into week. We'll go to Division 3. Why not, right? We'll stay here instead of putting the graphic up. We'll put the graphic up, but we'll stay here for a moment. Much of the same in the Division 3. Grand Rapids Catholic Central, along with Detroit Country Day, Grosse Ile, and Warren Regina all stayed in the top 5. As they were the previous week. So no changes at all in there. This one had a total of 8 changes. We had 2 teams come in, Brooklyn Columbia Central and Fremont, and Allegan and Grand Rapids North Point Christian both were bounced out this week. And a look there at the Division 3 week 2 rankings. Take a look here at your Division 2. Hudsonville Union Christian still up top, man. They're 5-0. They're a team to be reckoned with. I tell you. This one had total 10 changes. We had 3 teams in: Stevensonville, Lakeshore, Dearborn, Divine Child, and Holly. Holly, that's an interesting one. Holly, under head coach Eric Ransom, I don't know if they've ever been ranked before. I think Dan
Hmm.
talked about it last night. I don't think that they've ever been ranked.
Good for
And if
them.
they have, it's been a long time. But Eric Ransom, a really good coach, a good friend of the platform, national soccer coach as well. He has been in charge of that organization, that team now, I think, for 2 seasons, and he's doing some really great work there. And clearly, it's showing. They're in the top 15. They are currently 4-0. Spring Lake, which won the Division 2 state championship last year, got bounced out. They were ranked 5th and completely not knocked out of the rankings. They were 3-1. That's a shocker. That's a shocker because you go from being 5th, you won the state championship last year, to completely getting bounced out. I mean, I would maybe see them going all the way down maybe to like the 10, 11, 12, 13. They had a loss this week, but they lost, I believe, the Hudsonville Unity Christian. So it's like you didn't lose to anyone terrible. You lost to another reigning state champion. So
Right.
I don't know if that one adds up, but, to each their own. But this one had 10 total changes in that one. And that's your Division 2. And we'll take a look now at Division 1. And so Division 1, your top 3 remain the same. All right. So everything there remains the same. Portage Central moved up from 5th to 4th. Only one in and out. Midland moved in. They were previously unranked. Romeo, who was ranked 13th, bounced out. They did have a rough week this week. I think they lost like 2 or 3 in a row. So they lost Ann Arbor Huron. They lost to Bloomfield. They did beat Chippewa. And so they had a rough start to their season. So we'll see how they kind of shape up. If you want to actually see the full-on rankings, here they are. Put them back up on your screen. A look there at Division 3. Here's Division 2. And then there is Division 1. So there you go. Any thoughts on any of these rankings, my friend?
That was a good breakdown. I will say, I mean, just touching on the different levels, just from what I've seen so far, and obviously I'll have the opportunity to go back and cut up a lot of the stuff that you guys were talking about yesterday. Also good to get individual athletes in. I remember, obviously when you guys do your end of the year awards and ceremony and all that stuff, that was always one of the nicer parts of that was, getting the athletes up in front of Dan and on our platform. And like we said, it's nice to provide them a sense of that true media feel that oftentimes is left off the table, especially for the sport of soccer. What's up, Scoreboard Sports? Appreciate you dropping in. Says excellent.
I want to know what Scoreboard Sports is, though. I actually want to know what that is. What is Scoreboard Sports?
A competitor.
I'm well, then get the hell out if you're a competitor now.
We're gonna get you. There's a few different things. A rough schedule to start off for Western Michigan Christian. I guess that's what you get when you build a reputation as being a good team. I mean, Spring Lake, you got Unity Christian to start off right there. So I think they'll be okay. They played out to a couple of really tough games in Division 4, but yeah, wasn't expecting that many changes at D4. We love y'all. Well, we love you too. I mean, if we knew who you were, but that's the thing. We're trying to figure that out.
Well, you're saying you don't love anyone if you don't know who they are? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, well, I would love them more. Why I love them would be, but I guess I just love people in general. I don't know what I'm saying, but what is Scoreboard Sports? Do you know who those people are?
I don't know if they are people or not. It could be a robot, as far as I know.
Could be AI. Could be AI. That's a solid point. Bring up
is it a person or is it a thing? Is it a company?
Is it an it?
Wait. We're getting more. Hey, we're building.
Oh,
we're all about building up high school soccer, guys. Nice. Hey, well.
Okay. Fair enough. The other thing I'll say, Grand Rapids Catholic Central looks really good. I graduated from West Catholic here in Grand Rapids, so I've talked to their AD a few times about getting a few games set up, and I'm like, what about the Catholic Central game? And they're like, well, little thing about that, they're really good. I don't think they've given up a goal in 3 games or something along those lines. And yeah, for Romeo, rough start for them. I mean, just lost a pair of tough 1-goal games. I think they're still good, but that's the thing about these early season rankings, like especially coming into the year, and we highlighted this on a previous show. A lot of it is just like guesstimating. It's just like historically you've been really good. You've won a lot of games. This is what you did last year, so this is where you're going to be in our standings. But obviously, week 1 can really change all that, especially with week 1 and 2, especially with these early season meetings where, it might be cold or there might be some other things going on that can really, really change things up. So that's just, I think it's a good look at all of it. I think Unity Christian is a problem again. I'm blanking on what her name is. Ava
Lucky.
Ava Lucky, there we go, is already off to just a roaring start. So I know she's a Michigan State commit. They might be right back in the mix. They might go back out and win another one because right now they're handling pretty much all the opponents in front of them. So that they might be like our Rochester Adams on the men's side. They might be that version, but over on the women's side with how they're playing early in the season. So a lot of fun though. I like seeing changes. I mean, I know it's cool to present it one way or the other, but my whole thing is go out and prove the media wrong. That's cool. So a lot of stuff in D4 switching around.
So I did go to Scoreboard Sports YouTube channel. That's the beauty of technology.
All right.
Oklahoma high school soccer polls. Okay. I like it. Video
I don't know if I can tell you much about those, but
yeah, scoreboard.com announcing brand new coaches polls for Oklahoma high school soccer. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I love it. This is yeah. We're in Georgia, Alabama, SC, I'm assuming South Carolina, and Oklahoma. So
you guys are like the SEC network to our to our sometimes Midwest based.
Yeah. So we gotta have a conversation with the Scoreboard's sport. I'm assuming they're not just soccer. Is it only soccer? I'm just curious if it's only soccer. All
right.
But they had to send me an email. There we go. So they're perfect. I would love to have a conversation because in our growth model, having access to people who can also help us is fantastic. So,
yeah.
But I know you're talking. Keep going, my friend.
No, I agree with you. And any way we can continue to expand out or down or anywhere else, like we were talking about earlier. I mean, we cover stuff in California already. I mean, we're able to get the signal. We're able to put up a good show. So I think that's something we are completely capable of and something I'd love to look into. So yeah, Scoreboard, if you got some ideas, go ahead and hop in. And like I said, this is all really kind of we're trying to work together with people. I think that's the point that we always need to continue to drive across. And I think we've done better at that. And I think that's why we're getting at least so much traffic on what seems like on the show today and continue to get more traffic. Like if you guys have ideas, if you have comments, if you have things that you want to do, even if you want to get in the game and work in the realm of inside the game and broadcasting or whatever it is, I mean, we're kind of the place for you. Like we would love more people to have, because more resources, more people, more names, more places, all of that stuff is only going to help us grow our brand. It's going to help all of us grow. There's a spot in the table for everybody.
Yeah, no, this is great. I'm looking at this. This is their website. No, it's pretty cool. I like it. Showcasing this on the screen. So you can see, click on the map here, take them to Georgia. It says, let's go. I mean, this is pretty cool. So take a look at team region. So it's got their records. This is nice. It's pulling in records and things like that. It pulls in a bunch of data. This is
on
cool.
The bottom of that last page, they got a bunch of different states that they cover on there too.
Yeah, so wow. That was on their homepage. If you go back to the homepage, you come down here. This is all the states that they're trying to. Obviously, they've only got right now here in these 4, but nonetheless, it's pretty cool. So kudos to Scoreboard Sports. That's the cool thing, right? Is that we can pull those things in and have a conversation about it. So that's so.
Right. And we're trying to figure out where the other markets are too. Where the other hotbeds for high school soccer and club soccer and everything like that is. I imagine there has to be some really good spots, some really competitive areas down south too. So that's, like I said, It's building from this where we are. We've been established in the state of Michigan, now just expanding out, and so to think that we could have another resource down there, we want to find these hotbeds. And I think if we can continue to, connect the dots in one way or the other, it could help the whole thing grow.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, this high school ranking show has been a blast. It's a labor of love. Labor of love is what I would say. Again, we probably should do more behind the scenes of that too, because just the amount of work that goes into that. I mean, that
Right.
process starts usually about midweek, and through the process of getting the rankings on Sunday mornings. That's when the real work begins, where we're getting them anywhere between 7:00 and noon on Sundays, and then it takes us about 8 to 10 hours of prep leading up to that show to get everything in there, to make this thing work. And now trying to get, like yesterday, Bianca was very helpful in me getting all this stuff in. And I wish there was I would like to just give the coach association just access to our spreadsheet, just do it themselves. But the problem is we still have to double check it, because they put in like these names of schools that don't match up. Like, it's like their cryptic version of what the school name is. Well, it's not the right name. So, it's like, wait a second, what is that school? Like they just put in like Adams. Well, if like I've been doing high school soccer in Michigan for 30 some plus years. I've been around it for almost 40 years.
Right.
My wife or anyone else who's not been in it doesn't know that. So when they see this name come across, they're just going to put that name in there. So you have to double check that stuff, right? And
Adam is ranked second place. Adam is in second place.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And there's an S there, right? We have Grosse Pointe Woods, University Liggett, right? And sometimes those don't fit into a graphic because there's like so many different versions of how you can put that name in place. So it's a process that we love, and that's why for me it pisses me off. It pisses me off when we are putting 12, 15 hours in on a Sunday, right? And somebody else does something in about 3.5 seconds, and they're getting a bunch more, credit than we do. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
First one to tell you that. I'll be the first one to tell you that pisses me off. But not because of the fact that they're getting those views, but because we're putting so much time and effort into it. That's the part that bothers me. I think the more exposure kids can get, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
If you have information, right? If the Detroit Free Press has this information, if the Detroit News or ESPN has it, what are they going to do with it? They're going to try and create something that will give them more views and more credibility and things like that, right? That's what they're going to do.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Take this information, run with it, but just do more with it.
Mm-hmm.
To put things in perspective, the Coaches Association is used to on Monday mornings just post these to their website.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They just used to post them to their website. I came to them 3 years ago and said, let's stop doing that. Let me give you some exposure. Let's give you exposure to these players. Let's talk about these teams. Let's give them exposure. We turned it into an hour show.
Yeah.
We did. We turned it into a 1-hour show.
Mm-hmm.
So, to go backwards on that in some level with other, with other organizations want to do this, let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it. But that's the part that pisses me off, is that we're spending 10, 12, 15 hours a week on this product, and 5 minutes after we go live, it's being posted to the world, and it's almost like clickbait. It's like, here, it's like, here you go, right? Mm-hmm. We all deserve to do better with that. That includes me as well. We all deserve to do better. We should be doing better to elevate this game. Just posting something isn't enough. Do more.
Right. Do more and get involved more and work together more. I mean, the whole thing with the soccer space, and we could be better on the media side, but is how we're all kind of, again, pulling in different directions. Like, and to make it immediately available to people, but available in easy locations to find too. Like that's the other thing is like if you're just going to post it to a website and you're not going to link it anywhere or really let anybody know, like the important people are going to see it and word will spread. But it's not actually something, number one, that is all that accessible. But number two, it doesn't generate any excitement. It doesn't generate any conversation. Like our job, and especially on this show, and that's why I like doing it, is about generating conversation. That's the most important thing. Does Ryan wants a shout out?
I think he does. Shout out.
Right. What's up, man?
Do you want me just to say shout out? I can shout out.
Shout out. I can
Shout
shout.
out. Yeah, you know.
But, yeah.
You know. Again, this isn't. There's an easy way and a hard way, right?
Right.
I will forever in my memory will always remember August. I actually think it was my wife's birthday. No, because it was Sunday. It was August 20th, August 25th. I believe it was her birthday that I was on that rock. I'm not 100% sure it was her birthday. It was her birthday weekend. We were up there in Traverse City. We had just baptized my daughter in Traverse City Bay. I went and sat down on a rock. I was working on the rankings on a Sunday because we had a show later that night that I wasn't going to be producing, just whatever. And I sat down on a rock, and that rock, whatever's on that rock, created this massive skin rash on my leg that will always be. The hospital bill, me being quarantined for a week in the hospital. I will never forget that. It's like a tattoo on my body.
I thought this was about to be some sort of like Renaissance moment for you where the light bulb just goes off. I was sitting on the rock and all of a sudden it all came clear to me what I needed to do. I thought it was going to be one of those stories, but no,
it was
rash.
This came up and bit me. This thing, whatever it was, bit me. It took over my body. I had to go in the hospital for almost 7 days. It was, but that was all of that. I would not have sat on that rock with my laptop if it weren't for the ranking show.
It's a labor of love. It put me in the hospital. Yeah, put me in the hospital. I got some weird bacterial growth on my leg because of this ranking show.
And to be fair, the doctors still have no idea, Nathan. They have no idea how I got it. Like, they have no idea what it was. I mean, I got picked. I got prodded. I mean, you name it. And I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. Hang on.
I think I know what's coming.
I'm gonna do it.
No.
I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it. Hang on.
We just got a few new viewers, and you're gonna scare them all away with what
that was it, man.
Oh Jesus! Yep, there it is. Oh. So we're gonna have to cut your leg off. Actually, we don't have any choices. This ranking show has actually cost me one of my legs. I have a wood leg now because of the ranking show. Thanks, kids. Appreciate you. Labor of love. Oh my goodness gracious!
Sure, I did not sit on poison ivy. I can
sit on poison something. It wasn't a clean rock. Oh my God!
It's not a clean rock.
Oh,
sorry, man, but this is as much as hard as for you to see that thing. But just as hard as for you to see that thing, I had to live with it for a week. I mean, it took a little longer. Once I got out of the hospital, I still had to take a whole bunch of medication. But
I still remember you telling me, you're like, yeah, I got a bacterial thing. Fried thighs. Yep. Little season 2. I remember you telling me that day. You're like, yeah, I got a little bacteria thing. I'll be back a few days or whatever. I didn't even think anything of it. But my goodness.
But I from my hospital room, I held 3 Zoom meetings. All right, because I was in quarantine. I couldn't even leave the room. They don't do what I had.
I didn't know what rare bacteria.
I
you
don't know.
had.
They locked me into a room, man. I couldn't leave. I mean, it was
all constrained.
But here's the thing, right? So I closed Major Arena Soccer League in my hospital room. Right? I closed that deal in that room. You know, they're like, I'm like, you want to reschedule this, John? I'm like, I just full disclosure, I'm currently sitting in a hospital bed. I apologize. They're like, do you want to reschedule? I'm like, no, I got this. It's just some fried thighs. That's all it is. So, but I got that deal done, you know? So, I mean, to be fair, I mean, my wife will be the first one to tell you it was for her that week. It was rough because I was in the hospital. There's nothing she could really do to help me. I was never, other than the original discomfort of it just being itchy as hell. I never really in any real discomfort. I remember when I actually went to the hospital and checked myself in. I even went in there going, because I had gone to multiple doctors and nobody could figure out what the hell this thing was. Finally, they checked. I on a Friday night, I go into the hospital. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna check myself in. You know, here's my luggage. Let's go. And they admitted me. They put me, and but I never like felt like I was in this this bad place. But they pumped me full of so many antibiotics and steroids you can't even imagine. But all of that came as a result of me sitting down on a rock to do the ranking show. So when I tell you that it frustrates me or something pisses me off, it's not because somebody else is also doing it or because other places are now doing it. It's great. We knew that when we started this, that other people were going to want to get involved. I don't doubt that. And it's, to be fair, that's right. It's fair. And I'd imagine on some level, Scoreboard Sports, who just came into our comments for the first time ever, and kudos to them, what they're doing, I would imagine that they're doing this and they know that somebody else could also want to do this. So all they have to keep doing, like what we're trying to do, is just keep doing more to elevate it.
Mm-hmm.
And continue to be what we are, which is your home for soccer. And so I would just implore anybody else who's doing this to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't about like who's better, whatever. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Right.
It's for me, it's
give
about
credit where it's due. You give credit where it's due. I mean, it's a simple thing that it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. And I know that a lot in our industry is about taking stuff and making it your own as a new meaning to skin in the game. Yeah. He almost lost his skin while in the game. That's crazy, man. That's so nuts. But no, I mean, just give credit where it's.
See it again. There it is.
Oh, is it gone? Okay, cool. But it's just come on, guys. Like video credit, ranking credit, just give it where it's due. And if you want a piece of it, if you want a piece of the pie, or if you want to do something with us, do it with us, right? But like, why you would just steal and then claim it as your own, kind of like you're going out and like buying milk and then reselling it with your own tag on it. Like it's cheap, it's lazy. Just be better. I think that's kind of the message here. Be better. We can all afford to be better.
All right, my wife just sent me a text message. I got to put this one on the screen because this one's good. Because no, this isn't. It's not like that, dude. Come on, man. Just relax. It's all gonna be okay, man. It's all gonna be okay.
I thought it was gonna be another picture of your skin rash.
Oh, it will be, but not like the same. It's a different level. That's all. Yeah, you're good. It's all good.
Different level.
Yeah. It's just a new level. It's all good. So this is me in quarantine. Here you go. There it is. There it is.
I was kind of hoping it would be you like tied up in the corner of like a room, but that works the same. Oh, look at you. You're so destroyed. You're so destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in quarantine. But anyways, that's a wrap, man, here. Number 63 in the books. That's a wrap. We appreciate everybody stopping by here today. Don't forget, subscribe, like us, share this with your friends and family, your frenemies, enemies. Doesn't matter. We'll take them all. But we appreciate you. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, same time at 9 a.m. Eastern here on Inside the Game. Don't forget, we're on Roku, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. We are everywhere. And we'll be back at this again tomorrow morning. But for Nathan Wengler, I'm Jonathan Turner. You've been watching Inside the Game. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Same time, same place. This has been a presentation of the National Soccer Network.